Hello there, Lester Yanovich here for another edition of Wednesday's Wonders. Today's wonder occurred to me last week after last week's Wednesday's Wonder. It appears that there are certain things that a man is not to speak of. One of those is a thing called menopause, because right after that particular Wednesday's Wonder, my lovely wife came down and she had quite the stern look on her face, and she looked at me and she said, and I'm paraphrasing this, "Why are men so freaking stupid?" Well, I took umbrage to that and I said, "I'm not stupid, I'm quite a brilliant man. What are you talking about?" And we had quite a row at the time, and she clamped it up and she walked upstairs. And, well, I dusted myself off a little bit and I started thinking about it. And I thought, well, actually men in general, we're quite intelligent. I mean, we take care of business, and many of us are quite handy about the house, and we can build things and all. But when it comes to relationships, to be honest, we're really just quite dull at times now, aren't we? So today's wonder is, I wonder why men are so stupid when it comes to relationships. Well, it occurred to me that, well, let's talk about the couple of the usual cliches. One is, well, men are stupid about relationships because men think with their penis. Well, fair game. The other is a theory, in fact, and it is that men aren't stupid at all. In fact, they're just acting stupid because men are inherently lazy and they just don't want to do anything about the house. Well, fair game again, you know, but come to it, I think there's a much deeper root on that tree, and that may be exactly where the truth lies. And that truth is, it's not our fault. That's right. It's not our fault at all, because we are groomed to be stupid in relationships. I mean, from the moment we're born and they look down and see that little stick between our legs, the women all chatter about and whisper amongst each other, then they cut us from the herd for the next few years. And from then on, the indoctrination continues. It starts with our education. That's right, education. Come to find out, when it comes to business, well, we go to business school. We learn the tricks of the trade and we go out and we conquer the world. When it comes to being handy, well, we go to shop and we learn about tools and things, and we learn how things are put together, and when something breaks, we put the tools and the things together, and all of a sudden we fix it. When it comes to building something, well, we look at a schematic, we put the pieces together, next thing you know, you have a lovely skyscraper to look at. But when it comes to relationships, there's very little education on relationships. I mean, to be fair, I remember once in college, I saw a course called Women's Studies. So I went to check it out. Couldn't find out it was filled with women. And in fairness, when I was in high school, they taught me and told me that women have ovaries. Well, I never actually saw an ovary, and quite frankly, I didn't care, because one of my friends said, you can't have sex with an ovary, so what's the point after that? So to me, it just comes down to we're kind of out there left on our own, and it's very confusing, this sort of thing. And then somebody said, well, the best way to get your education about relationships is go to your father. Well, after I laughed for quite a bit, I thought, well, first of all, back in my day, you didn't talk of things like that. Not to mention that my father was just as confused as I am today. The only thing I got from my father was, well, I was able to rummage about his room at night when he wasn't around and, you know, look at some of his pornographic magazines in search of that ovary to look at of sort. So it comes down to education is kind of like, well, it's like giving a young boy a box of Tinker Toys. Now, for the younger generation, that would be, let's say, Legos. And you give them those things, but you don't give them a diagram. Or for the younger generation, that would be a picture. So what do you have left is you just have a bunch of knobs and sticks or plastic pieces all jumbled together in quite the mess. And that's what happens when you have no education. Everything comes out as quite the mess. Point one. Point two, well, it's a matter of clarification. Well, lo and behold, there is no clarification on relationships. There's no rule book, there's no manual for us to read and follow, there's no clarification. We're expected to play that game without rules or dance that dance. And we just can't do it on our own because, well, not to mention that those rules, they tend to change upon a whim or even a mood. Sometimes I think they're even planned. I think at night, sometimes when we go to sleep, they get up and go out and gather together in small groups or big conventions, and they laugh about and they scramble up those rules just to mess with our heads a little bit. And we're left there just completely confused. And I mean, I'm sure you've experienced a point where you've had a discussion with your significant other and only to be told, well, you never do this or never do that. Or you always do this and always do that. It's like, well, that's not entirely true. And then once you say something like that, what does she come back with? Well, you're not listening to me. Well, again, that's not entirely true. I hear you quite well. It's just that I don't agree. And then you have another row. She clams it up and she goes off into the other room. So it's kind of like, for a man, it's like trying to play a football game and you're the kicker. And you're trying to kick a field goal, but it's through a dancing goalpost. I mean, I suppose it can be done, but you can win the lottery as well. However, I think the odds are that you are going to end up being the GOAT of that team because there is no clarification. Point 2. Point 3. Point 3, my friends, is manipulation. That's right, check out that spelling, manipulation. Believe it or not, women manipulate us. They manipulate us from the beginning because they know that we're very sexual creatures, and they use that against us. There are times when I think when you propose to a woman and you get down on your knees, rather than giving her a ring, you might as well just give her your balls and get it over with. Because let's face it, from the moment they give us that first little tiny bit of sexual gratification, what do? They hold our penis hostage for the rest of our relationships. Why, they bind and gag that little fellow. That's right, it's horrendous. They bind and gag that little fellow and then they put him in solitary confinement until they're ready to get him out. And normally, they're ready to get him out when we do something nice for them. And at that point, they might give him a little kiss or they might rub his shoulders a little bit. And if we do something extremely nice or buy them something pretty, well, they may give that little fella a little bit of a yard break and let him see the sunlight for a little bit. And then what happens? Well, back in the hole he goes. That's right. So I have to say, I've been doing this for many years now, and well, I'm just a little bit tired and fed up with it. And I don't think I'm going to take it anymore. I think starting today, I'm going to start a campaign. No, I'm going to start a movement. And I'm going to call that movement Free the Penis. That's right. And I hope you're with me. Let's free the penis. Everybody out there, all the guys, I want you to get together. Together, we can free that man. That's right. Together we will stand. We will free that little man. If we need, we'll use our hand. Let's free the penis. Free the penis. Come on, I'll even buy the t-shirts for this event. Well, anyway, in the spirit of time, let me just add at the end of this that, well, I know there are some of you out there that are going to see this and you're going to think to yourselves, you might even say it out loud, so just go ahead and do it. You'll say, Lester, you're a misogynist pig. Well, that can't be something furthest from the truth. I have the utmost respect for women. It's just that I like to consider myself a realist, and I believe that some things, well, they just need to be said out loud, if you know what I mean. So, given the time and the fact that my lovely wife should be home at any moment now, I'm going to leave you until, well, hopefully I will survive until next week, and I'll give you another Wednesday Wonder. I wonder what that'll be.